customers.
Make things simpler, faster, more convenient. One tap, you get a conversation with your customer that never ends.
You know how many people have been to your venue. You know how many people have tapped you. I'm just going to scan.
Yeah, I was like, you need to talk to Ryan. He's got Tap the Table. Don't even waste your time. He's got a solution.
It just works.
And that's why Tap the Table exists in the first place. Boom. And then you just start doubling the price. That's that right there.
We're doing different things.
I'm going to tell you what works based on what I have literally seen. Stop. Just tap your phone. Boom, done. Easy. This little tag right here is very, 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 very powerful. At this point, automation should be a part of your business.
Turn it to a conversion engine.
Do y'all see this? You've just entered the twilight zone. I want to help everyone. All the restaurants have a need.
Facebook, Instagram, Google, WhatsApp, Telegram, even your own website chat widget.
TTT will always work.
But having these conversations with our customers, we could build those relationships.
Interact with our favorite restaurants in person and in digital. A solution-driven conversation, guys.
This is what we want.
And it's something I am really excited for.
Well, Ryan, we're just getting started.
You're not selling a bot, you're selling a solution.
The inbox. This is your money box, guys.
Every consumer now has NSE access.
You've really brought the technology down to the level of your neighborhood.
You are starting a conversation with your customer that never ends.
Stop making people work to buy from you. Make it as easy as possible.
NFC, baby. If I wanted to get the email as well. Let me show you how easy that is. You can't do that with Uber Eats and then also send a text. When this happens, I want these 10 things to happen afterwards to make sure I get that customer feedback, get that customer to come back again. My success has been because I make basic bots that solve big problems.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Tap the Table changed the game.
It's a great space to be in.
Ryan back legit blew my mind.
That nails it on the head.
It was a mission all year long. What is going on, people of the internet? Y'all thought I wasn't gonna just appear in the darkness of 2022. You must be crazy. And this year, it's gonna be even better than last year because, well, we've got more awesome guests. And tonight, we're gonna be face to face with one of my favorite clients of all time in like the last decade. I've got a handful of just favorite clients. And Miss Nicole Cruz and Manny from the farm, that if you've been my Facebook friend for the last year or so, you've undoubtedly seen this beautiful place down in Florida. She's going to grace our presence tonight and reveal some things that y'all should know. And I've never had a farmer on my show. I don't know how many marketing people have farmers on their shows. I think this is a first. I like it. But without further ado, please help me welcome Miss Nicole. What is going on?
Hey, from the farm. How are you?
I'm excellent. Man, I'm a little rusty on my my intros. Hopefully that was okay.
That was great.
Awesome. Can you hear me okay?
I can. Am I good on this end?
Perfect. I can hear you well. I think we got the chat going on. We've got Daniel in the house. Nice intro. Thanks, Daniel. Daniel's a really prominent guy out in Pooler. He's a part of a big business, but today it's all about you. And so without further ado, and we'll get into like maybe how we connected, but tell the folks just a little bit about who you are and how you got into this farming world and all about Circle C. Just give us a quick rundown.
Well, yes, it's a little unique to do what I do, or to do what Manny and I do. And so I actually grew up in small agriculture, and I grew up with a sister, some horses, dogs, kind of a thing. And I laugh about that because we have such a large facility and property, and everything we're doing now is so detailed. There's so much to it. There's so many layers. So it's kind of funny having grown up in very small ag and now running and operating a vertically integrated farm here in South Florida at the capacity that we're doing. It's pretty night and day difference. So yeah.
It's so cool. It's so cool. You know, I had no idea what really to expect. You know, I guess I'll bring it up. Hopefully he's watching. I sent him a message, But Guy Clark, who's like a celebrity out in your area, as you are, as I've found out later, he's who connected us. And I don't know how that conversation happened, but our relationship was an interesting one because, with me and my space focused on restaurants and technology and marketing, I had a heck of a time here when this pandemic thing started. Especially you know how I am about QR codes. The whole business model is about people moving, and so basically when that stuff happened in March of 2020, I guess really that whole thing had to change and pivot. And I'm glad it did in hindsight. But along the way, Clubhouse, the app that's like I guess now taking a huge dip, people don't like it as much anymore. I met Guy, who is the most amazing connection I think I made on the app by a long shot. And why don't you tell the folks how that happened? Because it's an interesting way that it's an actual connection on social media where business did happen, and it wasn't like a week long thing. This is going on still strong.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so I met Guy, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 years ago. And because we both we're integrated within the food industry and the restaurant industry here in Southwest Florida, we were doing some different events together. And he actually invited us to one of their events, which was the kickoff for their Sizzle. And so we got to go to that event, and it was amazing because he's a phenomenal marketer and he's a phenomenal brain in that space, and being able to bring together all the local restaurants here and put them together for a charity event, as well as exposure to everybody in our geographic region with regards to all of the restaurants in the area. It was just amazing. And so that was one of the major events that I've done with him. That was about 2 years ago, and I think 2 or 3 years ago. And that was one of our first major events after having been introduced to one another. And it was one of those things where it was by word of mouth. Somebody said, "Hey, you need to meet this person. You need to meet Guy." And I'm like, "Okay, great." And Guy heard, "You need to meet Nicole." And so we got together at this event, and it was phenomenal.
That's awesome.
So he's fantastic.
And it's so interesting. The thing with Clubhouse is, you really had to put yourself out there. At least in the beginning, it was so locked down. At first, it was iPhone only. I guess only recently has it become Android friendlier in the past couple months, maybe 6 months or so. But it was like when it first came out, it was such an allure to be a part of it because you couldn't just download and use it. You had to kind of be invited, and that was like such a cool concept, and it's I think what helped give it the buzz. And so for me, I'm like Mr. Skeptical. I don't believe anything. I think everything I see is fake, and I would like think that everyone's lying to me all the time. And so I'm just like I go into things like that. And so when I listen to some of these rooms, I'm like, okay, this person has absolutely no idea what they're talking about, and I'm going to just get on this application and tell them, and you can dispute it or just like say, okay, sorry, I'm wrong, or I could learn something, right? And in Guy's case, he always taught us something. It wasn't even always having to do with marketing, which is my thing, obviously, but he always would bring value or he wouldn't use the app. And that's what I loved. And so anything that he said, I totally respected. And I think I just mouthed off enough to where maybe when he got asked who's the marketing guy you recommend, I'm like the only name that came to his mind, which was kind of the plan too.
Well, and one of the things about Guy is he's very genuine. And so he and I've had lots of conversations over the last several years, and I've really appreciated that because you can have a respectfully open conversation where you're talking about stuff that's going on in the industry and what's leading or what's trending and how to go about telling people about that and how to get your community involved and how to keep the restaurant industry involved and things like that, to be on, not necessarily always feeling like you're on the cutting edge, but to make sure that you're really taking advantage of the social media out there, of the marketing, of the connections, addressing relationships, addressing the community, both social media and the human community, of bringing people into the restaurants or connecting them within the restaurant or food industry. And so that was really, he has a lot of really good insight. And those were things I appreciated because he has a very different perspective.
Totally.
And that's, it's always good. I was taught a long, long time ago that whenever you want to do something new or you want to look into something, that you look at it from kind of a 3-prong approach. So you ask others, you ask experts, and you ask yourself, is this something that's going to be good for you? Is this the best direction? Just kind of that brainstorming thing. And one of the things I absolutely respect and love about Guy is I can call him anytime and be like, hey, I got an idea I need to throw at you. What's your opinion on this? That kind of thing. And so that's one of the things that I really respect about him collegially, because his background is so diverse, and he's got breadth and depth in things that you wouldn't even realize. So I've thrown some things to him recently, and he's like, oh yeah. And then he tells me about that. I'm like, okay, all right. So I'm like, we got to table that and talk again. Those kinds of things. So it's pretty cool.
Sounds so familiar, Guy. I hope you're watching. I'm not good enough on this thing to check the comments and stuff like that just yet, but I'm sure he'll see this eventually if he hasn't already. But this guy, totally, he's I remember, I still have got to do the episode. I think I've got him here somewhere. He calls me. Actually, it was the last time I was there at the farm. We did that video on the way back. And I stopped at the gas station, and he calls me. I answer the phone for a guy if he calls, like first ring, obviously. And he's telling me about this connections he's made, again, on Clubhouse. This is when it was still, I guess, kind of hot. It was a guy out in the UK that had a patent or some sort of special connection or way to create all these plastic straws. And so the guy sent me a Ziploc bag that probably looks so sketchy to the male people, full of like 100 different styles of non-plastic straws, right? So that was a big deal here on Hilton Head, getting rid of the plastic stuff and replacing it with paper. Apparently this guy's straws were the best in the world and like got royalty to back him and all this stuff. But the conversations that Guy and I have, it's just amazing. And I'll tell you, the best one, my favorite one, is the one that led me to the farm. But it's just an incredible place, and the business that you've made is awesome. When he first approached me, he's like, "Hey, I've got this farm chick that she's looking for a Shopify expert, and I think you do Shopify, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've tried to get you to do Shopify a million times, Guy." And so he finally, that stuff resonated. And I was like, what is a farmer doing on Shopify? What are they selling? I just had no idea. And then he just blew my mind. Why don't you just tell the audience a little bit about what it is like on the farm, just and how the business itself works, and how your customers take advantage of the shop in brick and mortar and the web? I think that'd be really interesting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we're very unique. We are actually the only farm in the state of Florida, and there's only 2 of us in the country that have a USDA inspected facility on our farm. So what that means is, for us, all of the livestock that we raise, we have our farms just under a couple hundred acres. And on the farm, we raise all of our own livestock. And then when it's time to harvest, we harvest them by hand humanely in our USDA inspected facility. We have an inspected butcher shop on farm that's with our facility. And then we ship our meats around the country every week. And then we also have a farm store here in the Bonita Springs, Florida area. So we have several different layers within our vertical integration, which is really critical. And one of the really cool things about that is we control everything. And the blessing of that is we control everything. The other side of that is we do everything. And so it's really a balance between all of the different things, because we have so many species. So on a daily basis, we are raising all of our livestock. We're tending to them. We're taking care of them. We're top end of looking at animal husbandry and stress-free environment, and our livestock doing what they're supposed to do and what they're intended to do, because chickens are supposed to be outside scratching and pecking and eating grass and bugs and grubs, and cattle and sheep are supposed to be out eating grass and those types of things. So, we've got all these different species on the farm, and it's kind of crazy. And since I didn't grow up in big agriculture, it's a matter of a very quick learning curve that started about 6.5-ish years ago. And because we do everything, there's all of the different facets. And one of those everythings is all of the marketing and the social media, and the making sure that we get out to as many people as possible to let them know what we're doing. And so it's everything in one, if that makes any sense.
Totally. So to put it into perspective, from an outside perspective, guys, when I went to the farm in Florida, okay, I'm in South Carolina here in Hilton Head, and I'm very familiar with farm life in Georgia. This is a much different kind of farm than a cornfield, okay, folks? Cornfields and growing vegetables is one thing, and that's hard work and labor intensive for sure. What this this woman had going on with her, and I don't even know how many employees. I didn't even think about that, by the way, whenever I was going down there to visit you. I was like, how many employees could you possibly have as a farm? When I got there, folks, this is a real deal operation, okay? There's the land and the animals, that's one thing, but the whole process, as she said, she controls it, they control it. So I saw every aspect of farm life, guys. I mean, the whole from the tiny little chicken in your palms, right? That is
Yeah.
like got like 25,000 views on Giphy. Shout out Wendy, right? The little Giphy, right? From
She
that
did an
moment
awesome
in
job.
life, all the way to the process to where I saw your guys like in the plant, like safely, right? And protective stuff and all. This is like the most state of the art thing that I never would have thought existed on that land. These guys are like legit. Well, what do you call
Yep.
the process again? I mean, they're basically guys, excuse
Our
my
butchers.
French, they're sucking the guts out of the stuff and processing it, right? That's what it is. This is insane. This is hopefully this goes viral for us here. But it was the coolest thing I'd ever saw. And it didn't leave your property until I guess it was purchased, right? And you're
Correct.
handling that side of things too with your office. I mean, that whole side of the business, guys, you would never think is part of the farm. And I guess for not all farms, it's not that way. You're just taking it all the way, right? And that's the
Correct.
real big difference that we're trying to relay here. It's such a huge deal.
Well, and that was one of the things that was really critical to us, because we really wanted to be able to, and we do control the entire process. And that was really, when you start and you sit down and you look at a business plan and you look at a business model and you go through all of those natural steps and things like that, that's great, except that there is no business model for owning and running a slaughterhouse there, or our abattoir and our butcher shop. There is no just Google search or go to YouTube and see how do you do this, because that there may be pieces of harvesting or the slaughtering process, but the harvesting process out there, but there's no mathematical formula. There's no Excel spreadsheet that says column A, column B, so I created the spreadsheets and those types of things, and everything we did and everything that Manny and I have done, we have done together, and we've done it from the beginning. And it's every single decision on our farm, we make those decisions. And it's really overwhelming, to be honest. It's one of those things that some days it's like, oh, good Lord, I would have only like 20 hours today, but tomorrow I'm going to need 30 hours in my day. It's every decision that's being made has to be made thoughtfully and with the mindfulness of making sure that you are following it from the pasture to the plate.
Yes.
And that is why, we are from our farm, we are from our pasture to your plate. And it's because literally we control the animal, the livestock out on the pasture, all the way through the harvesting process, all the way through packaging, all the way through butchering, all the way through labeling, all the way through blast freezing, all the way through shipping, all the way to getting it to the farm store and getting it to you so that you can take it home and prepare it. And so some people don't realize that in and of
So much.
itself.
At the same time, you're dealing with guests. Like,
Yeah.
and when Ryan's running an ad, you might have 50 people messaging your page
Yeah.
that you'd have to worry about if you didn't have automation. Hello. But
Yes.
I couldn't imagine that. Like, you're doing all of the farm things,
Mhm.
plus the business things, plus customer service. This is insane to me. And
Yep.
you're doing it well. And the thing that I
Thank you.
like to see, I'm really lucky to get this perspective for the clients and businesses that I work with. I love to see the progression, whether it's anything to do with the marketing side or not. I love to see the growth. I love to see new locations open. And in your case, you guys have just had explosive growth, and the organizational pathway has just gotten smoother and smoother. And your team that you're building and that you've got it now already is just
Yeah.
insane already to have that when there's such a big employee shortage around the whole world, and especially United States. You don't seem to have that, but you're also doing things in the smartest way. I mean, what other farmer right now at 45 is on a podcast that cares that much about their business and their customers that they're willing to take the time to do a podcast to just tell the story, right? That this is to me is just a huge deal, and it just goes back to our conversation, one of our many today, like normal days. It's all about the conversations and the community, right? Because that's what gets us the conversions, the sales, and you know all
Right.
about that, right? The sales
Yeah.
here, we love the Shopify sound, cha-ching,
Well,
but
no,
it comes down to the community.
no, absolutely. And I get asked the question, well, what time do you get up? And I'm like, well, it depends on when the rooster goes off.
Right.
And I spent 20 years in the field of in a couple different industries, but predominantly in education at different levels and different capacities. And I had an alarm clock for all of those years. And one of the things when I retired out of education in that industry was I had told Manny, I said, listen, can we keep the clock just to know what time it is, but can I never have to set an alarm again? He's like,
Right.
yeah, sure, whatever, but it's kind of funny because we're up at 4:30 or 5 because we have a couple of roosters on the property and they feel compelled to show up at the back door about that time. So, it's a unique day. It's a lot of fun. But one of the things, Ryan, I can say is, and genuinely, you have been an amazing impact on the ideas, the suggestions, making the technology work, talking about being able to take the ideas that I have in my, my crazy head over here and with all my curls going everywhere and, all these ideas that come to mind at 2:00 in the morning, because at 4:30 I'm up writing them down. And you are,
Yes,
you are able to take those ideas and make them happen from the marketing and the social media side. And then Wendy is hiding in the background and
She's so
she's
awesome.
she's
She's so
yeah, she's
awesome.
super sleuthing stuff too. And
Yeah,
you know,
she's probably doing stuff right now as she's watching this. She's
yeah,
working on the stuff. She's so
yeah.
great.
No,
She's already left a couple comments I've seen. She lets me know if I've screwed up the podcast, if my audio's off or something. But
okay.
she said we're good. Man,
That's
you're so
awesome.
much fun. I told you, this is just the fun. This is like a regular conversation. Only we're just solving problems versus just taking a breath and having some fun and looking back at what we've done so far and the things to look forward to. I want to ask you a question here. I've got some prepared. Usually I'm like typing them right as we're going, but I
Yeah.
actually had some this time. What is your favorite thing about the farm life so far? And guys, if you haven't seen her page, her social media, her website, go there and check out her videos. They're awesome, and we're posting a bunch of them now. And we've got a cool little process going on. But she's literally, I mean, when we're posting these videos, she's live in the farm, in the field. It's so cool. But what is your favorite thing? Just tell us a little bit about that. The best parts about the farm life, because the animals just look so fun all day long. I get to see the fun stuff, not when they're breaking the fences.
Yeah, well, yeah, Manny and I were on fence repair this afternoon. But
I can
that's kind of
imagine.
such is life. So, I think honestly, to answer that question, it really boils down to you can't make this stuff up. I mean, we get some great video of the livestock doing stuff that I would have been like, oh wow, that just rocks, because everybody's going to love to see it because it's so authentic from a farming standpoint. And so I think that that's one of the things that I enjoy the most is the separate from the business side of it, it's the actual being able to go out and spend time with the livestock, understanding what they're supposed to do naturally, their God-given abilities or inabilities, or how they should be functioning outside in the pasture. And I think that is one of the most mentally healthy components to
Mm.
farming. If I know you know it, but if other people have seen our videos in the last couple of weeks, one of the things I've been saying is it's all you in 22, because you've really got to take care of yourself. We've all been through a lot the last couple of years, maybe more so, less so, depending on the person and the circumstances, but really taking care of yourself and your mental health. And Manny and I are very conscientious about that too. And we do have a very small team, but we have a fantastic team. And
They work hard all day long, man.
they do. They crank with us. I run full throttle 24/7.
And she's for real about this, guys.
Yeah,
She's not playing. This is for
I
real.
am.
She goes faster than me, and I go fast. I'm telling you.
Well, you've taught me a lot about different apps to use and different ways to upload stuff. So that's been like a
We're
super blessing.
optimizing here. We're optimizing. We had a couple
Yeah.
comments that popped in here. So Wendy, she chimed in. She says, because of course she's watching.
Yeah.
She said she once had a neighbor with a rooster like that. She didn't miss
Yep.
it. I think I've heard a rooster around here in Bluffton every now and then, and it gets put on the Facebook pages, and I think someone's pet gets put back inside. Probably it's weird
Oh.
here. And then
Okay.
my dad, your dogs are getting famous.
Oh, yeah.
My dad's watching. Is that, what's up, Dad? He
Hey,
usually doesn't.
Dennis.
He usually doesn't comment on my stuff, but he loves the farm dog, and I think a lot of your customers love seeing those dogs, and we really made a point to highlight them with this revamp, which is great. I had another fun question for you here. Which stereotype? This is a question from Wendy, I believe. Which stereotype about farming is not true? That like totally people think, but it's not true, or are they all true?
Hmm. I don't know. I think probably one of the biggest things is it's easy,
Mm,
or that it doesn't look, or I think people don't realize how many decisions you're making on a daily basis and all the nooks and crannies that you have to take care of. And, that they don't realize that date night is not on concrete. Date night is fixing broken fences, and date night is fixing waterers or when animals get out. So the myth is that you can have a real life and own and run a farm. Maybe that's the biggest myth.
that's a good one right there.
They come
That's the
out.
blog title, by the way.
Yeah.
Go ahead and tell you now. Like, I'll write it by tomorrow. That's the
Yeah.
blog title.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
that's a great point. I think people don't realize. For me, this is the way I look at things. We've got people like Elon Musk who have legit made rocket ship companies, and he's
Yep.
outperformed NASA, which at this point the government's not doing very good in any sector. Like it's not easy. It's easy to beat the government, I guess, at this point,
Yep.
and even at the highest level of rocket ships, that can be done. If this is the case, why can't and why hasn't farming gotten easier? Is the thing that would like I'm the skeptical person. This is the thing that I would say. Well, why is 2022? Why is it so difficult? But it's what you said, the decisions that must be made on the fly and on the spot,
Mhm.
mind-boggling. I mean, guys, I'm literally, we're on the four-wheeler, whatever you call it. She's taking me around the property where we're videoing these animals for all the content we've been publishing the past several months. And legit, she's like, I don't really know what's going to happen, Ryan. We'll try to get as much as these lambs and sheep and stuff, but we don't
Yeah,
really
that's
know
right.
what's going to happen. We turn the corner, guys, on this like 200-acre beautiful place, and what do you know? Like they'd like gotten out of the fence, and so she goes from like the nice cruising speed, and I'm like getting all this smooth footage, to like we're like going, and she's like having to rescue these animals. It was amazing. We've got this on video. It's in my back
Yeah.
pocket to like put out on the rainy days. Like, here's what we're dealing with today, guys. And it was the most insane thing, and it wasn't just her. So we've got the video too to prove that she's
Mhm.
this. What it looks like when you got the wide angle lens, especially this small, tiny woman herding this massive amount of giant lambs and sheeps and stuff,
Yep.
and then you're radioing other people to tell them what to do on other fields and pastures because of this situation that just happened. I'm like, oh my god, the logistics here.
Yes.
Like I never
Yep.
would have guessed this sort of thing happens. I think, well, the animals are in a pen. How hard can it be? You know?
Yeah. Well, the problem was that they took down one part of the fence because of the pressure on the fence, because that happened to be electric fence that they were in, which is, we do a little bit of electric, but mostly it's barbed wire. And when they took down a portion of the fence, they decided to self-guide a tour to a pasture they were not supposed to go in, which
Yes.
was the reason why I told Ryan, hang on, this is real. And we
Yes, it
went
was
running.
real.
Yeah. Yeah. And we had to call people to shut other gates because we had about 250, 275 head in that group, and they were all making a beeline for the gate, of course, the one that was open that we didn't want them to go to. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. And I even remember saying to Ryan, I'm like, this is real. You gotta like, hang on, I gotta go do this. So that was
This
fun.
is the first time, like, in my job's fun like this, and who knows what you guys were expecting. I'm sure that y'all are practicing the Second Amendment well that day with the Hilton Head dude that you don't know coming through. But this is first impressions, guys. So here I am. Obviously, I'm wearing my Jordans and my flat bill, but I've got my camera like this the entire
Yeah.
day. And
Yep.
she's weaving in and out of. We're going inside of ditches. I mean, like big
Yeah.
ditches. These are not play Hilton Head ditches. These things are like we're going through the things, man. It's all on this terrain, beautiful terrain. I got within inches of giant pigs here. It was just the
Yep.
most amazing experience. I can't wait to go back. And I think that it's important, more important now, and it's easier now with the internet and social media to know things, to know the facts. It's harder to fool people these days if you're really looking. So it's important to know where your food's actually coming from. It's
Yep.
important to know who's handling that food. What is the process? Are you being sold the correct labeled stuff? And when you're at the grocery stores, especially the big ones, like who knows? And here on Hilton Head, I hear
Yep.
horror stories, and it comes out in the papers every now and then about practices that aren't so good, especially in the seafood world. And so, in your neck of the woods or farm, you're just so transparent and so open. And I think that's what social media is for, is to be authentic and transparent and to show how it is. And I think you're just doing an amazing job at that. But I wanted to ask, what do you think your biggest takeaway or benefit or business advice that involves social media? What do you think that would be? Because at this point, we won't talk numbers, but you're obviously an expert in this field. Then you've got the numbers to prove it. We don't have to say the numbers, but guys, this is not. We're not talking about $100 a day here on some e-commerce store. This is a legit
Yeah.
business here. And so,
Yeah.
what kind of advice or what can you tell people that are, because I get emails all the time like, Ryan, what do I do with social media? Or do I go bigger on my website or do I do bigger on social? What do I do? What do you think was a good takeaway for business owners out there when it comes to digital?
Well, one of the things that you commented about was the fact that the beauty of the social media is it gives you the capacity to communicate and to share with the community, to bring in those that are not at the farm and bring them into the farm. So it gives us the ability to utilize the live component or the video and being able to extend that, what I call our Circle C farm family. We've got clientele and our VIPs, from around the entire country, around the entire US. So they can't be here. And so the social media allows us to be able to get into their living room or to have them involved in the farm from a distance. And so that is one of the things that I think we really need to, as business owners, but also as small business owners in particular, we need to articulate via video the activities that are going on. And it doesn't have to be every single thing, but really to allow, in our case, allow people into the farm this way and to take advantage of the opportunity to share via social media.
Yes.
And I think to really utilize, there's so many different social media platforms. And one of the things you and I talked about was the fact that because I've done everything, like for the last several years, like
everything, guys, every channel.
Yeah, like
She has
legit.
done it. I think she's probably watched more Gary Vee than I have at this point, which is
maybe.
insane. That's who we should have. By the way, whenever we do
Yep.
launch the podcast we've talked about, that's who we got to be one of our guests. That the first year, and I know him. I know the guy. I know I've been in his office, so we'll make that happen because you're the Gary Vee of farming for sure. That's so fun to think about.
Thank you.
Gary Vee of farming. We got to make that trending. Maybe
hashtag Gary Vee of farming.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. And so since you've been doing, I remember the first time, I guess it was like the second or third month that we started working together, but you put yourself out there with that selfie video with one of the contests we did. How did that feel? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, you're a farmer, so like you're not scared of nothing, right? But on a scale of 1 to 10, how nervous were you to send me that video and to have it published out and like get the reaction? And what has the reaction been from your customers since you've been making more consistent videos now?
Well, they love it. And I'll tell you, I really do enjoy it. It was just, I had to find, I was blessed with the opportunity to work with you. And truly, and I mean that, and I told you that, you have it in writing. I'm sure you have it in writing in Messenger somewhere. But I feel very grateful. And I think one of the best things that has come out of this is you're helping me on so many different levels, but the balancing. So I'm a perfectionist and I'm hypercritical of certain things like those videos. And so one of the things that I really had to, and I mean this sincerely, I had to kind of take the step back and say, okay, nothing's always going to be perfect. And I sent you the video and you're like, okay, so here's some strengths and here's some things we need to work on. And I appreciated that authentic feedback. And I think that was one of the things, is really realizing that even though I was out taking videos of the livestock or of our animals, or, whether it was the chickens or the sheep or the ducks, and I was putting that out there, but what was really wanted, maybe, and more than that, was me being able to be in the video explaining things, because you
Yes.
can see the ducks, you can see the chickens, you can see the horses, you can see
Who's
the
holding
cows.
the camera? Who's
Yeah,
holding that
yeah,
camera? That's
yeah,
it. You know, that's the behind
exactly.
the scene.
Yeah,
Everything's behind the scenes. That's the behind the scenes, you know.
yeah.
And you're
And you,
mastering that now. I mean, it's so fun to see. And the thing about digital, guys, this is the thing where it's not just Ryan spitting off crazy stuff and freestyling up here. The data does not lie. We
no,
can't we can't put out a video and then not know what happens, folks. We
yeah,
can see when we do things the direct effect. Did people go to the website? Did they watch the thing? Did they share it? Did they comment like we said? Did they go through the funnels that basically you design and we implement, which is so
right.
cool to see. Stupid thing here. That's to be respectful of your time. I
Well,
don't want to take you too much. She's like in bed by now because she's got to get up
no,
in
no, no.
5 hours. You know, it's 5
No,
a.m.
no,
here.
because I'm working on a couple projects, so I'm going to be up for a few hours. I'll probably be
Well,
up
that
till
means
the
I'll be up
stupid
for a few hours too, folks. It's going to be a
hey,
fun
hey, hey,
night.
yeah, that's true, because I'll be dinging your phone.
It's
Yeah. So,
true.
but you know what, Ryan, I think you bring up a really good point, and that is getting out there and relaxing enough to. This is for anybody. It's not even though for me, I had to back off of my being hypercritical and over editing, and when I first started doing it, I was doing, I don't know, like 4 or 5 or 6 takes on something, and then it was like, wait a minute, this is ridiculous.
Hmm.
Just get on. Take the time to explain. Don't feel like you need to be rushed. Don't feel like it needs to be some perfectionistic cinematography event. Just really get out there and show what's happening, explain it in a way that people can understand it, and let people enjoy what's happening on the farm on a regular basis, and not worry about certain things about the video taking or the selfie pose and the angles. And I think that's been one of the biggest growth points for me in doing this. Is I enjoy sharing, I enjoy teaching, I enjoy educating, because
Yes,
really one of
education
the
is so big.
yeah, and one of the things that's really well is, okay, so on my list of stuff for 2022, and working with you, we're going to be doing some different things, and it's going to be just a whole bunch of rockin' stuff. Is to quote you, it's going to be gangster. um
Yes, yes.
Gangster.
Everyone's
um
clapping their hands right now that's
yeah,
watching this.
yeah, I'm like, woo, I'm so excited, and I'm one of these ADDers that and you and I work really well together, so like I could have it done next week with you, but the world's going to take a little bit longer, or need a little bit longer, for us to do some of these things. And I think it's really about telling people what's going on, and explaining what's happening, in my case, on the farm. And if it's in a different business, explaining what's happening in that business, and really bringing people into the farm, and not worrying about the certain things about it, I guess, is what I'm saying. Is like, just go out and do the videos. Let people understand what you're doing in your business, and let them see what you're doing, so that they can be involved. And in our case, who doesn't love livestock? Who doesn't love little baby lambs running around, and chickens, and baby chickens going with their water? Because there's, like, right now we're gonna have like 10,000 more in the brooder next week, and
So
people are
good.
like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm hanging with 10,000 chicks.
I mean, this is just something you're not gonna see every day unless you live that life. And
Yep.
I don't know what percentage of America are farmers, but it's an absurdly small percent that like
Mhm.
feed the rest of us. That's something that I learned from my farm buddies. Actually,
Oh,
Jacob, who's like one of my really big farming buddies. He's the one that shares all this kind of stuff here, and he's some of this stuff is just so insightful. And you share this kind of stuff. Your social strategy, I don't know how you do it. It's just some people are just naturally, they know their customers so well
mhm.
that they could just, in a spur of a moment, put out something that isn't maybe designed by Ryan or
Yeah.
Wendy, that may be of a lesser quality, that still just hits home because of the message, and that's something that is really hard to replicate. The
Mhm.
agency life, folks, and these are my people. That is a hard thing to do. We can
Mhm.
check off boxes and do fun things, but to know the customer of the client is a
Mhm.
really tough thing, unless you're seeing and funneling
Mhm.
conversations. Then you can kind of understand on a deeper level, but you just know the things, man. When I see you post, sometimes I'm just like shaking my head, like, how did you think of that one? you know. So, but I
Well,
look forward to the rest of the year, just supercharging everything with you. And you're someone who's not said no to anything yet, and
no.
that's like the greatest like gift as a marketing professional to have the ability to move the needle in the way that you truly believe is best. And that's what we really try to do. We don't ever want to waste time or resources without knowing we're moving the needle. Branding's all good and stuff, but I need
Yep.
to see results. I need to see
Right.
hits on the website. I need to see growth in the lists. And so when we had that crazy idea to do this with the QR code or to do this with
Yep.
NFC, okay,
Yep.
let's do it. And
Yep.
that to me, GyroTrack's another one that's so open to things like this, and we see the successes, and it's just gotten bigger and bigger and better, and that's what I hope will keep happening.
Well, and the one thing that I love about working with you and Wendy is it's a team approach, and
Totally.
I think that sometimes we get too competitive in conversation, not us, you and I
Right.
type of thing, but it collectively. And unfortunately, the idea of the competition is so overinflated, and it's I would love to be able to say, hey, I can feed the entire country. The truth is I can't.
Right.
My goal is
Can.
so I want to perpetuate other farmers' ability and opportunity to, if they walk away from this podcast with a little nugget of gold or goodness, I want them to know, get your camera. It doesn't matter what Android or Apple, get your camera or get your phone with a decent camera and get out there and start taking photos and videos of your farm. Get it on your website. Let people see, let people see what you're doing in that sense, and you can be afraid or a little nervous, but at some point you just got to be like, you know what, the heck with it. I'm just going to do it.
If it's not you doing it, someone else is going to do it. And this is why, Gary says to document. And when he first was using this term, I think back in like 2014, when I was really like in the Gary V groove before people knew who Gary Vaynerchuk was, for the most part, that was so critical. I was like, oh, so it doesn't have to be freaking perfect. You know what I'm saying? Because when it comes to, especially when Instagram was so popular and popping off, unless you were an awesome photographer, you're not getting all the love. You're not getting all the likes. And we know that the dopamine and endorphins that you get when you get the engagement, it's a real thing. Like I've done extensive research and reports on this when I was in the agency life or the big agency world. I was into this stuff, man. And so when I realized, wait a minute, I don't have to necessarily spend 25 hours to edit this one still photo that I'm not really even going to like get paid for here, or I don't have to spend an extra $20,000 on this gear for this video project, and I can still get the same results. Well, that savings that I've got can be put towards something else that will benefit me, and that's really how I look at my stuff and the client stuff. And really, at the end of the day, what I think really makes you most successful is you're looking at the end result for your customer. That's what your concern is. Everything that y'all are doing, all the processes and all the marketing, sure, it's fun. Like we like doing the things, but you're doing it for the benefit and value of the end user, your customer, which is the winning sauce, I believe.
Well, and I would agree with you. And one of the things is when I made the comment, like, you can't make this stuff up at the beginning. I mean that sincerely. Like, I can go plan a great little video and something's going to happen behind me with the animals, and
They're gonna jump out, right?
Or
Or
the
your
dogs
dog's
are
gonna
going to
lick your face.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. And no matter where I hide, I get found by one of the multiple dogs that we have, and but they're doing their job, and so I can't complain. So I think that you're right, and I would totally agree with you. Is that the paradigm has shifted from this need to be perfected and edited to grab the phone, turn on the camera, slap it up on YouTube, let
be
people see
real.
what you're doing.
Be real.
Yeah, and one of the things that I so appreciate about you is that I come to you with these wild, crazy freaking ideas, and you're like, yep.
Let's do it
Have
right
I told
now.
you no yet? And I'm like, nope. And I'm
Yes.
like,
I'm telling you guys, this is none of this is scripted. Okay.
no,
This is
it's true.
totally. This is how we talk all day long, like literally all day long. And this is with it with all my clients. So I juggle this stuff all day long. And if I did it, I would be nuts. I couldn't. I don't know what I would do. I've got to just be doing stuff all the time and solving things or trying to. And this Circle C farm family down in Florida, they can just invent the most fun things to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is my video games, as I've said many, many times. This is the best level of video game playing. This is the most high level stuff that I crave to do. And so I want to tell you, I tell all the millions of viewers right now, I'm telling them, thank you for being so awesome to us. You're a great client. really fun. Manny, got to get him on here one day because
No, I don't see that.
Manny hides. He's like me. He's behind the camera, but I'll tell you, some
Yeah.
magic happens when you got two to tango, as they say.
Yeah.
So we'll
Well,
encourage him a little bit here and there.
he's told me that he's comfortable being on camera from a distance.
Totally,
He,
the hand
he said,
model.
yeah. Well, and you know what though, this one thing and about that is that, in order to do what we do, in order to be successful running a business like we're running as a couple, one of the things that's also really important, and I'm going to put this out there candidly, is you really have to be able to find the work-life balance. And in our case, we live on our farm, we work together business wise, we're obviously together personally. So, that's been one of the things that we get to share everything, good, bad, indifferent, or ugly. We get to share that. And so I am just so grateful that he's so supportive of all my wild, crazy ass ideas that when I told him, I kept running a list because I'm a list person. I mean, I mentioned Excel for a reason, and
Mhm.
and I just kind of keep things going. And I am so eternally grateful for the fact that he is supportive of all these wild ideas, and at the same time, he grew up in big agriculture, so he's got that experience. He has the ideas. He's got the hey, we need to look at it this way. He's got that level of expertise, and so when I tell him, hey, listen, I want to do this, he's like, okay, just give me a few minutes, and he's like, okay, I got it all set up for you, and he's full throttle and he's 100% in with all the social media stuff, but he doesn't.
He's so
He's
in.
not like he's not.
I'm
Yeah, no,
telling
no,
you,
no.
this dude, from the example that was like 2 days ago with the AI-driven cartoon character animation. Hello, that
Oh
sounded
yes.
awesome.
Oh
Hashtag.
yeah.
From that to the first time where this was the first time I think that I like used my favorite word, which is gangster. I love describing things that are
Yep.
awesome in this way. That is what I mean by that. For those that don't understand the definition,
Yep. Okay.
he was a gangster to me whenever he was talking to me about crypto. This is a
Yeah. Oh
farmer,
yeah.
guys, who I met while he was either on the tractor or the bicycle. That was the first time I saw him early in the morning. I think it was riding his bicycle. He's like, "What's up,
Yep.
Ryan?" I was like, "Oh my God, that must be the man, man." It was my first time being there, and like the next thing I know, he's talking to me about crypto and how to do this.
Mhm.
And then what happened? What do you remember? What happened from that
Yep.
conversation?
Yep.
This is the mic drop moment to end on, and this is what the other marketers out there. You need to find the connections that don't appear in the black and white, that are in the gray, that you create on your
Mhm.
own. We had the conversation of crypto
Mhm.
because their end user, their customer, they wanted to
Mhm.
have that option. Well, hey,
Mhm.
if this is popular, why not have the customers able to make the purchase happen? So we made it happen in the
Yep.
chatbot and the website and all the things. And the
Mhm.
big deal here is he's a farmer, guys. What is a
Yep.
farmer doing understanding about crypto? And this guy
Mhm.
taught me things to look at in a way that
Mhm.
I've never thought of before. And they're farmers, guys. So
Yep.
the stereotype of my area, we're the slow country, the low country here. We don't know anything about technology. That's why most bigger businesses that I deal with at first don't take me very seriously. They're like, South Carolina, what? But at the same time, when you've got the open mind and you're
Mhm.
willing to learn the things,
Mhm.
it's powerful. And this Manny's dangerous. He's going to just come at us with
Yep.
a feature on some of the things we're working at. It's going to blow our minds. I'm just waiting on it.
Oh yeah, he's got his little list. He doesn't use Excel. He just
Yeah,
writes it down for me.
he's
But it,
so awesome.
yeah,
Love
no,
that
and
guy.
I agree with you. And that was one of the things when he
Oh,
had done. Oh
we got the silly me to end the little tangent I went on. What happened
yeah,
there? We ended up on the freaking news. That was the whole
yes,
point of the story. So we implement the strategy of accepting the
yep,
crypto, and then bam, what happens? You get hit up all over the nation, like wanting to do interviews with you. We get featured all over the
yep,
place. This is what you look for: the connections that don't appear to be connected from the conversation that, hey, can our
mhm,
customers use crypto to buy our food? I say
yep.
yes to everything. I don't know the word no. I say yes, and then 2 weeks later, bam, we're all over the news. I think
Yeah,
there's the first farm ever to take crypto.
correct. We are, and I don't know who else has implemented, but we are. We are, or we're the first farm in the country to be accepting crypto. So here you have an opportunity. And the other thing that makes us special or different is not only having our facility on our farm, but the fact that we are a pasture raised, grass fed, and grass finished farm. So
Hmm.
people can't necessarily always find the meats that they're looking for, and that's what brings them to us. And so here was an avenue that was brought forth because we wanted to make sure that we were really meeting the needs of our clientele. And, somebody had mentioned that, and we were like, well, it's something we were already looking into ourselves personally. And we thought about, well, listen, if we can make this happen. And so when the three of us got together on the phone and we made it happen, that was pretty incredible. And there's a lot of strength and a lot of power and empowerment in the ability to take that idea and make it happen. And with your background and all of the stuff that you do and some of the secret stuff we're working on for this year, and that we're going to pop out, so we'll do future podcasts on those. But that was one of the things, and we had a couple people locally that said this is so awesome, and then some other people said, well, what is crypto, or how do we do it, or why would you as a farm accept crypto for payment? And I think it was really a matter of, to me, it was an interest. These were interesting comments and feedback, because we were now all of a sudden, here we are, this little farm in Southwest Florida that's getting national recognition for accepting crypto, which is on the forefront of some things. And at the same time, we have to evolve. We have to grow.
Be open. Be open. I love that about you guys. You're going to listen to an idea and you're going to really hear it out. You may not say yes to everything, but you're going to be open to it. And here's the problem. Here's my last piece of advice to any business folks out there. When you've got people that are coming to you with ideas, even if they suck, don't let on that they do, because the thing you don't want is to miss out on that $1 million idea that they had that they could have brought to you, but you already ruined their self-confidence and that trust. So now they don't tell you the idea anymore, or now they don't tell you the important customer feedback that they would have told you, but you ruined that relationship. The fact that you guys are just so open and you hear things out, it's so big. And I think that your employees would agree with that too, and it's making you guys better every day.
I agree. Our team is really open to stuff, and the majority of our team didn't grow up in agriculture. So the really cool part about that is that there's certain things that when we talk about, or I say, hey, we're going to do this, they'll ask legitimate, honest, sincere questions about, well, what is that? How is that? Or explain to me more. And what I value so much about that is it's very genuine from our team. And when they ask those questions, it gives me the opportunity to clarify and explain. But if they're asking me those questions, then our clientele is going to be asking that question. And so we really use that as what I call a teachable moment. And we really take that in an education standpoint. Because honestly, Ryan, you know this, and I've said this several times, I'm not here to sell my meat. My meat sells itself. Okay. But I'm here to educate you on what we do, why we do it, how we do it, and why we're better than everybody else. And that's my responsibility. My responsibility is not to sell you as a farmer.
And it does. It just sells itself, guys. Like I tell you, and there's a real difference in everyone that I've exposed it to. My dad's still commenting here. I'm not going to throw all his comments on there, but he's got some funny ones. You need to go back there and look. But there is a difference, a huge difference in what you get at the grocery store. And you don't know anything about the journey of that meat, how it got to that shelf, what it's been through. You know exactly the process with what you guys have going on. And the moment you actually taste whatever meat that you choose, or the eggs. So I think Hannah really loves the eggs and the bacon most. She's a breakfast person. For me, it's all about the patty, whatever special.
The burger.
Patty.
I know you're a burger guy.
Man, I'll tell you what, dude. I can't do burgers now. That's the problem that you're going to end up having, guys. It just you're going to become a snob, and you're going to just look at this other food and be like, I can't do it, because you're going to know you're not going to feel as good after you eat that. Like I can tell every time. That whereas before, look at my podcast where I've talked about McDonald's in the morning, this is what I would do. I'd feel completely different after a couple of pieces of the real deal from the farm bacon. That I don't know how my wife spices it up like she does, but she's just a chef at this point. It's amazing.
Thank goodness for Hannah. She keeps your blood sugar stable.
She keeps me alive, folks. Basically, shout out to my wife. She'll have to be a guest this year. She promised me last year, so I'm gonna. I called her out. I told her I wouldn't, but she'll have to be a guest this year.
We'll do a secret attack on you, and we'll get somewhere out
there. The farm badly.
The cow pasture.
Out there. Whenever I came back and showed her all the footage, especially the drone footage, all she wanted to do was go and see the animals, And that I think that we're going to just continue in the path that we're on, and continue to be leaders and we don't copy folks. Slight little dig
Nope.
there. We set our own trends,
No.
and we love it when other people follow us on the
Well,
pathway.
and
I love to
you
see
know,
it. It just lets me know that we're doing the right things when they copy us, you know?
yeah, and you know what? I'll be honest, and I'll expose a little bit of myself here. Is that one of my pet peeves is having all my ideas taken. There, there was a point on our website where there was a significant number of individuals on our website, and because of the back end data on our website, we were able to see geographically where they were. So I
Uh-huh.
was able to figure out some of the companies that they were
Yep.
working for. And I found it very interesting because within a matter of 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks later, they were actually, I don't want to say stealing our ideas, but they
The
were
language is there.
they were copying our ideas. And I guess after my aggravated stomp around the house frustration, because I'm working so hard and I don't have, a multi-million-dollar budget, and I don't have 15 or 20 departments doing marketing and figuring out branding this and that. And, and even while I'm a fairly well-educated, both formally and informal individual, it was like, I've worked really hard. You and I've worked really hard. Manny and I have worked really hard. Wendy, you, me have worked really hard to get and do these things and be creative and proactive in the front of it. And I had to remind myself, hey, wait a minute, imitation is the greatest form of flattery. And I'm like,
This
well,
this
shit,
is so true.
everybody's
I'll
going to be.
tell you, I've had to Wendy. We won't shout out the brand, but Wendy,
No.
this is her pet peeve, man. Her pet peeve is whenever and because she works so hard on the creative that she is responsible for, when she sees another brand or franchise using without the proper permission or something, just taking
Yep.
it kills her, and it's the most amazing thing. Whenever she formulates these giant paragraphs in Messenger that I wake up to, like telling me this stuff, but I laugh a little bit, but it's frustrating. I know.
Yeah.
I just have to take it to where if we see that, we know that, hey, that means we're
We-
doing the right things because they're
That-
just behind us now. So we just got to keep innovating. That's the thing. That's
Yep.
what sets us, that sets the gyro tracks apart from
Yep.
the CMOFs out there. And I'll put the brands out there because I'm not affiliated.
That's true.
You can be an innovator and a leader and a creator, or you can follow. You can follow
Right.
and have the investors to hopefully win. But what we're seeing is the folks that have done the right thing and have actually created and innovated, they're the ones winning this time in 2021 and 2022. And the baggage that's associated with all these other conglomerates, it's going to hurt them. I mean, the
Yep.
fact that you're going essentially direct to consumer, guys, she's
We are.
e-commerce. She's the farm e-commerce legend. Like this is what your Shopify store, guys. You wish you could do the numbers that we were doing. I'll tell you that. This is what I'll tell you. This is a farm. It's insane what you've built, and I've never
Right.
seen anything like it. And we're gonna rocket launch. Continue.
Well, and the cool part about it is that we are setting trends. Okay. So, it's funny because I get, you get this random junk email, and I got an email from somebody who wanted to have us pay them for, whatever the marketing stuff. And I'm like, this is bullshit because
some crap.
why should I be paying you for something that I'm already doing because you came to me because I'm already doing it? Ryan, Manny, I, and Wendy have already got this figured out, and we are going out on the limb, and we're being super creative, and we're not setting any restrictions or parameters. The word no doesn't exist in our conversations. It's really a matter of, this is what we want to do. Let's make it happen. And within a matter of, well, for you and me, it's a matter of a minute or two.
It could
We
be a
figure
matter
it
of
out.
hours, but in all seriousness, whenever we've defined this is a thing that we need to pay attention to and look at, between one of our lists, we write the thing down and get it done in an appropriate amount of time, whether it's me asking you for a video or a concept or a blog idea, or you just expecting us to pick up the ball somewhere. That's what we do, and there's no need to wait around for direction in a lot of cases.
No.
And I think there's no time for that. And when you're in the middle of corralling goats, picking up eggs, processing chickens to sell, and doing marketing at a high level, to see the big guys just rip is just another reason that I'm just like so adamant about providing an equalizer. And I think that's what automation does. And I think that we're on the right track. And I think we've given enough secrets out tonight. We can't tell anyone else anything else. They have to wait till episode 2 or something.
Yeah.
Because this is just, we're giving all the value here.
Well, the one thing I can say, and you have taught me this, so and you still on a daily basis when I can't figure it out, you are so patient with me, and I'm genuinely grateful because as a farmer or as a business person or somebody that comes from other industries, that I didn't grow up in social media and I didn't grow up in all of these different platforms, and there's so many out there. It is a full-time job. I don't know that job is the right adjective, but it's a full-time job, for lack
Responsibility.
of better description, to know and understand all those.
Mhm.
There's the idiosyncrasies on all of these platforms. The what do you do? The marketing, the boosting this, the doing that. I mean, honestly, you are a godsend to me and a blessing
Thank you.
because I have been able to pass that ball to you. And
Less stress, right?
or,
That we got rid of panic posting. No panic posting,
yeah,
less stress. That was like my mission number one with you because this lady was doing all the things, guys. And so
yeah.
if at least the social side of things could take a little bit of relief away, that would
Mhm,
optimize so many other things. And it has. Like she's been able without that little bit of
mhm.
organizational help. Because you were doing all the things like when I'm looking at all the things when I first started with you, I'm like, all right, what's the problem here? This is awesome. Well, I mean, there's no problem, right? I want to do more things. I'm like, oh, got
Right.
it. You can't do, there's only a certain amount of time in the day. That's the one thing that we can't
Well,
buy and get more of, right? And so this is the content. Now we've gotten to the place. We got the
mhm.
website right. We've got our strategies in place. Now you're out there able to connect with your community at a deeper level, at a stronger level, at a just better level. And I think we're
Mhm.
gonna reap the benefits and see the results, and we're already seeing them. I think.
No, I agree with you 100% on that. And the best part is that your expertise, your background, your experience, your knowledge, all of everything that makes Ryan, and your background in dev and coding and stuff is just it's so
I'm
fun
blushing.
because your brain tantalizes my brain when we're creatively coming up with ideas that we just don't say no to. And
No, so
I'm
connect.
so genuinely grateful for that because I could only learn and teach myself, but you've actually given me time back in my farming day and my business day because you're our our working together. You're taking on things that are making me look even better, and
Oh,
you've really helped me
hmm.
tune into certain things about what do we really need to be focusing on the client and how best to communicate this and how best to do this video and how to specifically target, and don't worry about trying to get everything in one video. Just make small
Exactly.
segmented videos and
It's
we'll
so big.
and
It's so big.
I think that kind of circling back around on a couple topics, you asked me, what are some of the myths? Well, honestly, one
Mhm.
of the greatest myths is that you can do it all by yourself because you really can't do it. And I think separate from all the big dogs out there and the politics and all of that, whatever, we're at the heart of it as a farmer, we want to in our case it's livestock because we don't do produce or don't do produce yet, and we have
Ooh.
great produce farmers around us, so we're really focusing on the livestock growing and the animal husbandry
Mhm.
to have an end product of the meat that, as you mentioned, but it's also part of our motto, our tagline is that you can not only taste the difference but feel the difference, and
Mhm.
you know that gives us that focus. And at the same time, we have to make sure that we're looking at the data. And what data are we looking at? Well, separate from business data, we need to look at our marketing data and we need to look at the feedback from our clientele. And so all of the things that you have designed and the infrastructure that you have there that we're utilizing has been
Toot,
a
toot, toot.
blessing because yeah, no. I mean, truly, it's freaking amazing. And what
Thank
we've
you.
got planned for stuff,
I
I'm
know,
just so
I know.
excited.
I've had to bite my tongue so many times because I just want
I'm
to
like,
like
oh,
give the
no.
examples away. But
Yeah,
y'all
no.
just
Well,
have to follow us. Y'all have to follow us on TikTok, on
yep,
Instagram, on Facebook.
everything.
The secret community that we've been hinting at is coming soon. You better
Yes,
join the
yep.
email list, otherwise you'll miss out on this. Nicole, how fun was this? Seriously,
No, this was a
fun.
blast because, but you know what? You even put out something this afternoon that we've never done before. And, for forgive me, I'm still learning some of I know what it does, but it's the click funnels.
Yeah, so well, it's not
Okay,
click
okay.
funnels, but it's the funnels in general. So our
But yeah,
funnel was we're doing so most agencies and
yeah,
businesses, their social strategy stops at the point that the customer is liked, commented, or shared.
right.
After they've done one engagement, like that's what they report on. So an agency's like, oh yeah, you paid us all this money and you got 12 likes for this one and 24 likes for that one and 50 website clicks. No, what we do is we send the customer through a personalized, where we're using their names in some cases, journey, and we're learning about them. We're offering them things, and in this case, what we did was we offered a way for them to certain VIPs to get a special message. And I think that the fact that you were open to, number one, doing the video. Okay, this is the last thing that she wants to do after she's doing all the bajillion things that takes to run a business on a farm. Now I'm asking her to do selfies all day, right? But she's willing to do that, and she's personalizing content for her customers in a way that they cannot get with any other brand. This cannot be copied. What she's doing here, it's not
Right.
possible. And I think that's
No,
what's going to really move the needle. We tried it today, and I think we've got a pretty good response.
I think we had an excellent response. And you know what? At some point down the line, other people will figure that out. And, you know, and so be it. But I think in the short term, again, it goes back to what do we want to do? We really want to articulate and communicate the thoughts, the feelings, the expertise, the activities that are going on the farm. And one of the coolest ways to do that is through the social media platforms and your brilliance of making all that work together and in sync, but really looking at being creative, because to be honest, I mean, I'm an adult with attention deficit disorder. It's truly a hyperactive person in constant motion. And at a certain point, you get bored with the social media stuff. I mean, you can only have stuff fed to you, and this is not a pun, but you can only have it fed to you the same way with no seasoning so many times, you know, so it's got to be a, I mean,
that's a bomb right there. That's a bomb right there. Cutting that one. That's a keeper. You thought of that one. That's a keeper right there for sure. I'm gonna have fun with that one. You're right though. You know, it's when you're using it in the right way. Number one, everything in your business for the most part should have some degree of funness. Okay, I know this is not a word. It's got to be fun to some level. And if you hate doing the social media posts, eventually your customers are going to have that feeling. It's going to get old and boring, and they're going to tune you out. So how do you fight in the noise, especially as more people are understanding, oh crap, I got to deal with digital now, and the pandemic like forced this in a big way. I've now got to focus on social. The space is going to be more crowded and more saturated. And so the only thing that is going to save any business is brand. And what is the brand? You're the brand. There's a person behind every brand. And if there's not, we have a problem, you know? And so this is where I encourage most business owners, or at least someone that's high up enough that's not going anywhere, it's not, you know, getting fired or leaving anytime soon. They must be a face associated with that business. And it's a hard thing to do for most people, myself included, to do that selfie thing. But it's so powerful, and you're doing it so well. And the way that you're doing it is so unique. Again, people will figure out the benefits of this kind of personalization, conversational commerce, but you're a leader in so many ways, and in this way too. And it's just so cool to work for you and work with you. It's really been awesome.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure both ways. So yeah.
Well, I hope that this has been as fun for you as it's been for me. Guys, I hope you've had fun listening to us. Nicole, do you have any last words before we sign off?
I guess just thank you, Ryan, for being who you are and for your level of brilliance. And most importantly, thank you for putting up with me and all my wacky ideas, because they're not stopping.
Good.
So, and I'm really looking forward to it. You know, I think that, not to sound all philosophical and stuff, but
bring
at
it,
the same
hit us,
time,
man. Please hit us with the philosophy.
To do it is
philosophy.
With everything that's gone on the last couple of years, everybody's running this yo-yo or this gamut of a lot of emotion and things like that. And one of the things that I think has been a positive that's come out of it is maybe the opportunity to take that step back and ask yourself, what's really important? You know, is the stuff important to you? Is your health important to you? Is your family important to you? And one of the things that we want to do is really focus around the old school concept of the farming and what it does, and the fact that in farming, whether it's produce or livestock, you're feeding people. And if you value that time with one another, then you can really incorporate the idea around food and around eating well and spending time together and talking about the things that are important and not being so focused on stuff. And so with working with, whether it's our farm or local farms within your area, I want to really encourage anybody to to really find your local farms, go to your farmers markets, be part of that community, but the simplicity of the community, the simplicity of eating within your food shed, knowing your farmer. I mean, I've gone to a couple of different association meetings where there's just a number of farmers in the area, and they really are doing great stuff. And so we're going to lead the way in the marketing and setting the trend in the industry, because Ryan, that's what we do.
That is what
And
we do.
I have no hesitation on putting that out there, on record, that we're going to kick ass this year. And, we are going to continue to evolve, and we are going to continue to see this evolution in agriculture. I mean, I've got a lot of things coming out, and we're talking about, to me, it's where has agriculture been, and where is it going? How are we as farmers, not the big dogs, but how are we as small farmers within our community feeding our community and feeding the members of that are within our food shed? And so if what you and I, Ryan, are doing, or you, I, Manny, and Wendy are doing as a team, plus our team here on the farm, because I do want to give props and kudos to them, because they're freaking amazing.
It takes every person in every department responsible.
Yes.
It takes everyone doing the thing and moving in the right way. It's a team thing for sure, all the way around.
Hashtag it takes a farm. I've already been doing that, because that is, I don't know if you can trademark hashtags, but, I'm going to trademark it takes a farm, because, that's what I truly believe. But that farm is not just us here and our VIPs or our clientele, which are all amazing. It's, if you and I together, or us here, are giving ideas for other farmers so that they can help reach people in their community, so that people find them that might not have found them before, I'm okay with that kind of copying.
100%.
I'm okay with
That's gonna
that
make
kind
you feel
of
good.
Yeah.
And here's the Gary V thing that he would say in this case, because he has said this. I wish I could be fast on the third on there. He's done this. This is how I actually learned so much in the very beginning, years and years ago. You can give people the entire recipe. You can give thousands of people the recipe. That there might be one person that really considers actually taking the steps, but a lot of people want to be Nicole and Manny, but nobody wants to do the things Nicole and Manny do. That's the truth.
No,
Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, that's 100% accurate.
They want what you've got. They want what you're building, but they don't want to put in the work.
No.
And without that work, you don't get the results here, unless you're in the metaverse and you can just play around in some video games. This to me, we'll have to look at eventually. And because, even with the TikTok stuff, I was so Nicole, I really don't like TikTok, but we got to look at it. Now we're posting TikTok all the time.
Yep.
But it's not about what I like. It's about what is
the clientele.
What is the end user will always give you the story of the customer.
Yes.
And so if it comes down to we can find a way to win in the metaverse and all this stuff, let's rock it, But
the metaverse, there's amazing.
I'm
so excited. There's amazing.
Don't give away the stuff now.
No, I'm not going to. I'm not going to.
Don't give away the stuff.
No, but in the metaverse, you can virtual reality things.
Oh yes.
Okay, but you can't pick up a baby chicken. You can't go. You can't go out and sit in the pasture and take your shoes and your socks off and run your toes through the grass. And I'm not talking about the grass with the chicken poop in it, or the grass. Okay, I'm actually talking about, you can't sit there and have the dogs lick your face in VR. And so, there has to be that balance between the virtual reality, the metaverse components, and taking the strengths from there, and then also balancing that with I smell the pigs on the other side of the property.
Totally. Exactly.
You know what I mean?
When it comes to that metaverse event where, it's the Super Bowl 2 years from now, and we're able to actually buy advertising time in metaverse Super Bowl land versus actual traditional, where it's $1 million commercial. That's where Circle C, I think, we play the game. But did y'all see that value I dropped? I hope y'all are writing that one down, right? This is the sort of thing we could just go on forever, y'all. I'm telling you, this is the most fun podcast, not of just 2022, but I've had in a long time. This is one of the most fun ones I've had in a long time.
One of the things you and I have to do, though, is we do set timers on ourselves, because what's happening in the podcast happens almost every day or every couple of days with us. Yeah, and it's just constantly.
That's the thing. I don't want to stop. That's real. I have to force myself. My wife's going to have to come in here, Ryan.
She like it.
Get your butt in down here.
Time to go. Well, then I'll have to go out and feed the dogs.
And Manny's
But,
probably like, all right, this is enough now, Ryan. You got to get up in the morning.
Yeah, it's
Listen, I'll be
4:30
up
with the
early. I'll be
rooster.
up before y'all. That's my plan. Got
Yeah.
things to do, things
So,
to build. Nicole, thank you so much. This has been so much fun. I'm sure
thank
I'll
you,
talk to
Ryan.
you maybe after this, but definitely tomorrow.
Yep.
So much fun, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. Be sure to leave your comments and questions. We'll get back to you if we didn't see them so far. But thank you as always, and we will catch y'all later. Y'all have
Thank you.
a
Thank
good
you.
night.
And stay tuned for all the rockin' stuff we're going to set out and the industry leading things that we've already done and the things that we've got planned. I'm excited because they're going to rock it out. And to use your word, they are gangster. And
Gangster.
I'm gonna throw out this hashtag because I slapped it at you in Messenger earlier. But Circle C Farm is the Elon of ag.
Boom, boom, and
Okay.
y'all just wait. Y'all
Hashtag
just wait.
Circle C Farm Elon of ag.
Somebody
Because
at Elon right now. Somebody tag
yeah,
him.
because there's a lot of us high-powered, intense, incredibly cerebral individuals that are out there, and we see things on so many different levels. And I am truly, honestly, I'm so energized by the experience, the knowledge, the skill that you have, Ryan, because you've not told me no, and I mean this sincerely. And I've come to you in the last couple of months and said, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, and you're like, yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Boom,
Yes.
boom,
Yes.
boom,
Yes.
boom.
And I'm like, oh my
I'm
God, when
done.
can I have this? And you're like, hold on a second. And you're like, oh, wait, refresh your app. And I'm like, oh my God.
Listen, the moment, guys, let me tell you, this is the gangster stuff right here. The moment that she realized an aspect of one of the things that we're doing to keep it super vague,
Yeah.
she literally hit me with a relational condition formula that you didn't even know she had made. I'm like, do you know you just like created a relational condition right here that will allow us to do this and that? This is insane. You're a farmer. How are you doing this? It's mind blowing what we're doing, but we can't divulge
Nope.
everything. Y'all got to keep watching the videos. We got some amazing farm content coming soon, and this has been so much fun. I'm sure that we're gonna get a request to have you back ASAP. But
Well,
thank you
I
so
will be,
much, man.
I'd
This has
be
been
happy
so
to do
much
it.
fun.
But when you come down again in a few weeks, we'll do one from here.
Yes, and we got to get Guy involved. Shout out to Guy
Yep.
again, obviously, because
Shout out
without
the guy.
him, we're not talking. So, and respect. So, I'll definitely
Deal.
be down soon. We'll get Guy involved. We'll do all the things, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much.
Cool. Thank you, Ryan. Have a great night.
Bye.